Welcome to my channel. Today we will study about family of salts from the chapter acid, bases and salts. We will see the understanding, the types and uses of salts. What are salts? So salts are the ionic compounds which are formed by neutralization of an acid and a base. Acid reacts with base to form salt and water. General formula is Mx. M is the metal cation and X is the anion. Salt consists of positive ion cation from a base and negative ion anion from an acid. Example, NaCl salt. So NaCl salt is formed by strong base sodium hydroxide and hydrochloric acid. In this, water is removed and we will get NaCl salt. Other examples are potassium nitrate. It is formed by the reaction of potassium hydroxide and nitric acid. Again, we will get water plus KNO3 potassium nitrate salt. Similarly, for copper sulfate, it is formed by the neutralization of copper hydroxide plus sulfuric acid. So we will get H2O water plus copper sulfate CuSO4. So this copper sulfate is a salt. General structure of salt. The structure of salt is this is the structure of the salt. It is cubic structure. NaCl salt. Now we will see the preparation of salt. So we have seen the salt is formed by the neutralization of an acid and base. Apart from that, salts are also prepared from the acid. When an acid reacts with metal, we will get salt. So we will get zinc sulfate as the salt and hydrogen gas is liberated. Another method of preparation is when an acid reacts with metal carbonate. So we will get sodium chloride salt plus carbon dioxide gas is released and water is formed. Next, when acid reacts with metal hydrogen carbonate, again we will get sodium chloride as salt, carbon dioxide gas is liberated and water is formed. Next, when acid reacts with metal oxide. So when HCl reacts with copper oxide, we will get copper chloride salt and water is formed. Apart from acid, when bases reacts with metal, we get salt and hydrogen gas is liberated. Sodium hydroxide is a base and zinc is a metal. So we will get sodium zincate salt plus hydrogen gas is liberated. When a base reacts with non-metal oxide, so calcium hydroxide reacts with carbon dioxide, we will get calcium carbonate as the salt and water is formed. So these are the preparations of the salt. So we will see the classification of salts. So we have neutral salts, acidic salts, basic salts, double salt, mixed salts and complex salts. First, neutral salt is formed by complete neutralization of a strong acid and a strong base. Example, sodium chloride salt. So sodium chloride is formed by the neutralization of strong acid. This is strong acid and this is a strong base, sodium hydroxide, and HCl is a strong acid. So we will get water is removed and NaCl sodium chloride salt is formed. Similarly, potassium nitrate is also a neutral salt. When a strong base reacts with strong acid, the salt we will get is a neutral salt. Then acidic salt. So acidic salt is formed by the strong acid and a weak base. So ammonium sulfate, ammonium hydroxide, this is formed by the neutralization reaction of acid, sulfuric acid, strong acid, and ammonium hydroxide, weak base. So strong acid and a weak base forms a strong that forms a acidic salt. Example, ammonium chloride, another example of acidic salt. Basic salt, when the salt is formed by strong base and weak acid. For example, this is sodium acetate. It is formed by the neutralization of a weak acid and strong base. So that is why it is a basic salt. So we will get this water is removed and CH3COO Na salt is obtained. Next is a double salt. Double salt is formed by the combination of two simple salts, contains two different cations. It is mostly stable in solid form and it will dissociate into ions in the solution. Example, Mohr salt, FeSO4 NH4 twice SO4 dot 6H2O. Another example is carnallite, potassium chloride, magnesium chloride dot 6H2O. Another example is potash alum is also a double salt, KAlSO4 twice dot 6H2O. Next is a mixed salt which contains more than one cation or anion. Here sodium cation, potassium cation and sulfate anion. Sodium potassium sulfate. Similarly, sodium potassium carbonate. Sodium cation, potassium cation, carbonate anion. So this is an example of mixed salt which contains more than one cation or anion. Next example is complex salt which contains complex ions. They have central metal atom surrounded by neutral molecules and charged ions. So this is the central metal atom which is surrounded by the neutral molecules or the charged ions. So example is potassium ferrocyanide and another example tetraaminocupric sulfate. Then what are family of salts? The salts which have same negative ion or same positive ion, they belong to a family of salts. Example, sodium chloride and sodium sulfate. So they both have a common ion, that is the sodium ion, Na plus cation. That is why both the salt, sodium chloride and sodium sulfate, belongs to sodium salts. Another example, sodium chloride and potassium chloride. So in this sodium chloride salt and potassium chloride salt, we have chlorine is the common ion. So chloride ion, Cl minus anion, is common in both the salt. That is why it belongs to the family of chloride salts. Another important families of salts are, we have sodium salts, calcium salts, potassium salts, magnesium salts, zinc salts, aluminium salts, copper salts, ammonium salts, chloride salts, sulfate salts, nitrate salts, carbonate salts, and acetate salts. These are some of the important families of salts. Then salts having same positive ion, they belong to the same family of the salts. Now sodium salts. So sodium salts contain salts of sodium. They have positive radical, that is Na plus ion. Example, sodium chloride, sodium sulfate, sodium nitrate and sodium carbonate. In all this we have the sodium ion is the common ion. That is why it belongs to the family of sodium salt. Similarly, salts of calcium. So it contains calcium as a positive ion. So calcium carbonate, calcium chloride, calcium nitrate, calcium sulfate all have the common cation, calcium ion. That is why it belongs to the family of calcium salts. Salts of copper. It contains copper as a positive ion, copper cation, copper sulfate, copper nitrate, copper carbonate. Again, copper is the common ion, so this is the salts of copper. Next, potassium salts contains salts of potassium, K plus positive ion, potassium chloride, potassium carbonate, potassium sulfate, potassium nitrate. All have the potassium cation is the common ion, therefore it belongs to the family of potassium salts. Salts having same negative ions, so they belong to the same family of salts. Chlorides contain salts of hydrochloric acid. They contain chloride as the negative radical, sodium chloride, magnesium chloride, potassium chloride, barium chloride, calcium chloride, aluminium chloride. All these contains chlorine, that is chloride radical as the common ion. That is why it belongs to chloride family. Next, sulfate. Salts of sulfuric acid, sulfate, SO4 2 minus radical. So, sodium sulfate, potassium sulfate, calcium sulfate, magnesium sulfate, zinc sulfate, copper sulfate, all contains sulfate ion is a common radical SO4 2 minus, that is sulfate ion. That is why it belongs to the family of sulfates. These salts belong to the family of sulfates. Then salts of nitrates. Salts of nitric acid, nitrate ion as a negative radical. So NO3 minus, sodium nitrate, potassium nitrate, copper nitrate, calcium nitrate. These salts have a common ion, that is NO3 ion. That is why these salts belongs to the family of nitrates. Carbonates. Salts of carbonic acid, carbonate ion as a negative radical, CO3 2 minus ion. So this is CO3 2 minus an ion. It example sodium carbonate, calcium carbonate, potassium carbonate and copper carbonate salts have the common anion, that is carbonate ion. So all these salts have the common anion, common negative ion, that is carbonate ion. That is why it belongs to the family of carbonate. So these salts belongs to the family of carbonate salts. Now we will see the pH of a salt solution. So pH value ranges from 0 to 14. Whether the salt is a acidic salt or basic salt or a neutral salt. So from this pH scale, if the value is from 0 to 7, so it is acidic salt whose hydrogen ion concentration is more, and if the hydrogen ion concentration is less or hydroxide ion concentration is more, then the salts belongs to basic salt. The range is from the 7 to 14 and 7 is the neutral salt. So here ammonium chloride solution. So ammonium chloride solution, it is formed from ammonium hydroxide and hydrochloric acid, where hydrochloric acid is the strong acid and ammonium hydroxide. So ammonium hydroxide is a weak base. So the salt ammonium chloride salt is a acidic salt whose pH value is 6. So this is a acidic salt. Sodium chloride salt. It is formed from the neutralization reaction of sodium hydroxide and HCl. So this is formed from the strong base and strong acid. That is why this is a neutral salt whose pH value is 7. It's a neutral salt. Next salt, it is sodium carbonate. Sodium carbonate is formed from sodium hydroxide base and carbonic acid. So carbonic acid is a weak acid, sodium hydroxide is a strong base. That is why the salt is a basic salt whose pH is 9. So this is a basic salt. Now we will see the properties of the salts. So physical properties, they are crystalline salts and they are soluble in water. They have high melting point and high boiling point. The chemical properties, the salts reacts with acids, bases and water to form different products. They also undergo hydrolysis, electrolysis. Next is the importance of salts and their uses. So first example is the sodium chloride salt. Sodium chloride salt. So here it is used for food seasoning and preservation. Second is sodium hydrogen carbonate, that is baking soda. It is used as anti-acid. So whenever you have more acidity problem, then you can always take baking soda for neutralization of the acid in your stomach. It is also used for cooking. Next is calcium carbonate salt. This is used as a dietary supplement and also used as an anti-acid. Next, potassium nitrate, which is used as fertilizers and for fireworks. Ammonium sulfate, it is used as fertilizers. Alum, it is used for the water purification and dyeing. Next is ORS salt. Oral rehydration salt is used to treat dehydration. Then washing soda, that is sodium carbonate. It is used in detergents and also used in glass manufacturing. Epsom salt, that is magnesium sulfate salt, which is used for feet pain, muscle relaxation, relieves aches and pains. So that is Epsom bath salt. Gypsum, calcium sulfate twice H2O. It is used for the construction material. It is used for cement, plaster of Paris, for soil conditioning. However, their low hardness limits their durability. Next is the copper sulfate salt or blue vitriol. It is used as a fungicide in agriculture. It is also used as algicide in swimming pools and it is used in electroplating industries and electrolyte. Next is calcium sulfate hemihydrate, that is plaster of Paris. So plaster of Paris, the uses are it is used in medicine to set broken bones by creating casts as well as for making molds, statues, decorative items and even we have blackboard chalks. So let's summarize. Salts are formed from acid-base reactions. Then they are classified into various types based on compositions. Each type has unique properties and applications essential in industries, medicines and daily life. So thank you all. Do like, share and subscribe.